Are you stuck for words when you meet someone new and you have to speak English? Let's practice together. You can take all the time you want until you're comfortable. Hi, I'm Leanne and I want to help you learn to speak English out loud. In this video, we'll look at the science, we'll do a poem together, and then I'll ask you some questions. So let's get started. Science tells us that it's easier to remember sentences and phrases and not just individual words. They call that chunking, which doesn't sound very scientific to me, but it's the chunks of language rather than individual words that our brain can hold on to better. It gives our brains more things to latch on to when there are more words together in a sentence. I have a poem to get us started, just like last time. So first I'll say the poem and then we can say it together. When you meet someone new, they want to know all about you. Let's practice what you need to say when their questions come your way. There, I managed this time. So now let's say it together. When you meet someone new, they want to know all about you. Let's practice what you need to say when their questions come your way. Good. Did you manage to keep up? Okay, let's do it again. When you meet someone new, they want to know all about you. Let's practice what you need to say when their questions come your way. I'm getting better at it. Are you getting better at it? Let's do it one more time. When you meet someone new, they want to know all about you. Let's practice what you need to say when their questions come your way. All right. Are you ready to say it on your own? Okay, go ahead and say it on your own. Good job. Now let's practice some useful phrases and answer some questions that people are likely to ask when they meet you. So for the warm-up questions, these are easy ones just to get you started. The first question is, do you like to meet new people? You can answer yes, I do, or no, I don't. But even better, you can answer with a little bit more of a sentence. You can say, yes, I do like to meet new people, or no, I don't like to meet new people. Why don't you ask me the question? Leanne, do you like to meet new people? Yes, I do like to meet new people. For me, I like finding out all about them. So that's why you're going to have to learn how to answer questions, because when people meet you, they often want to learn all about you. The next question is, do you speak more than one language? You can say yes or no, and obviously you're speaking a different language and you're learning English, but do you have any other languages that you're fluent in? For example, well, ask me that question. Leanne, do you speak any other languages? Yes, I do. I speak French fairly well. I learned that in school, and I also lived in Quebec for a short time. That really helped me improve my French. But I'm fluent also in Portuguese. I lived in Brazil for a whole year as an exchange student a long, long time ago, and I've visited there several times and have some friends from Brazil who have come and stayed with me too. I also learned some Spanish before I went to Mexico for a 6-week visit one time, although I think I've forgotten a fair bit of that, and it's so similar to Portuguese that I get it mixed up. What else? I tried to learn Korean, but I wasn't as successful with that. But part of that problem was I was memorizing individual words, which quickly get forgotten. And when I was there, I didn't really spend enough time actually speaking. So I think it's great that you're taking the effort to actually speak. Although I've been speaking a lot now, haven't I? Let's see, do you speak more than one language? That's supposed to be a short, easy question, but I'll ask you again, and maybe you can tell me a little bit more if you speak more than one language, or maybe if you don't and you've tried. So do you speak more than one language? Nice. Now, if you don't have enough time to answer, you can always pause the video, speak a little bit longer, and then start it up again. The next question is, are you nervous when speaking English? That's probably an easy yes or no. And often people are nervous when they are learning a new language because they don't have the words ready and on the tip of their tongue. So that's why we're doing this practice. I'll ask you some questions and you can practice. And you can go through this video again and again until the answers just come out of you very easily. In fact, I might do some summary question videos just to ask a whole bunch of questions that you can just take the whole video and practice. Again, are you nervous speaking English? And if you are, well, that's what we're trying to help you with, make you less nervous and make you more comfortable and help the words flow. Now we're through the warm-up questions. Let's move on to the next group of questions. So try to answer in a full sentence, and I'll help you with that. So when you meet someone, often they'll say, "What's your name?" So let's start. "Hi, I'm Leanne. What's your name?" So you could say, well, if you ask me, I could say, "I'm Leanne," or I could say, "My name is Leanne." I could say, "My name's Leanne. Nice to meet you." Any of those are good. So, "Hi, what's your name?" Good. That's an easy one though, isn't it? So let's pretend that you're here in Prince Edward Island where I live. So you're visiting here, or you could be visiting somewhere. Often you meet new people when you're visiting, and they might ask you, "Have you been here before?" So I'm assuming a lot of you probably haven't been to Prince Edward Island, but I could be wrong. Maybe you have been. Your answer could be, "Yes, I've been there before. I visited last year." Or it might be, "No, this is my first time." So I'll ask you again. Have you been here before? Good. Where are you from? Okay, now ask me where I'm from. Where are you from, Leanne? I'm from Canada. I live in Prince Edward Island, Canada, which is a small province on the east coast of Canada. When someone asks you where you're from, you can just say the name of the country, if you're in a different country, or the town that you're from. And you can tell a little bit more. If the person maybe doesn't know, you could tell them where that is in relation to some other place or in relation to the whole of your country. So I'll ask you again, where are you from? Okay, you're doing great. Another question people might ask, depending on how much information you've given them, they might say, "Do you live in a small town or a big city?" So I can answer that by saying I live in a small town. Charlottetown is the capital of Prince Edward Island, but the population is only around 100 I don't even know, 150,000 or 180,000 people. That might be the population of all of Prince Edward Island. The population of Charlottetown, I think, is only 40,000 or something like that. It's a very small city. So tell me, do you live in a city, a big city, or a small town? Good. Now, let's assume again that you're visiting here. Is your family here with you? Okay, that could be a yes or a no, and you might want to say why you're here. Um, if I ask about your family, I might say, do you, depending on your age or what I think your situation might be, I might say, do you have any children or do you have any brothers and sisters? So you can ask me that. Leanne, do you have any children? Yes, I have two children, two boys. They're both men now. One of them lives here in Prince Edward Island, not far from us, and the other one lives in Alberta, in the western part of Canada. And now I'll ask you, do you have any brothers and sisters? Now you can ask me. Leanne, do you have any brothers or sisters? I don't have any brothers, but I do have one sister, and she also lives here in Charlottetown. She used to live in Hamilton near Toronto, but she recently moved back to Prince Edward Island. These are the kind of questions that people could ask you about yourself and about your family. So go through these questions again and practice answering them so that you can answer them automatically. You don't have to think. Also, someone might ask if you have any siblings. Siblings are brothers and sisters. So go through and listen to the questions again and answer them until you can just answer them naturally without having to think about it. Now I want to get into some longer answer questions. So think about what you've been answering, or maybe go back and answer those again. And then I want to ask you to tell me a little bit about yourself. So when you're answering this, you could think of those things that were asked before. When you tell someone a little bit about yourself, you could tell them where you live, a little bit about your family, or you could, going back to the last video, talk about what you do, whether you study or work or just travel, what kind of things you like to do. So tell me a little bit about yourself. That's great. And again, if you need more time, just pause the video, say your answer again, practice it a few times, and then start it up again. Another question people might ask is, tell me about where you're from. So I'm from Prince Edward Island, and maybe you've never heard of it before, so I could tell you a little bit. You asked me, Leanne, tell me a little bit about where you're from. I'm from Prince Edward Island, which is a small province on the east coast of Canada. There's a lot of farming and fishing here, and tourism is big. Right now, we're just starting summer, so there's starting to be a lot more people around. And cruise ships come in the summer and in the fall. So that's what it's like here. It's a really beautiful province, but it's really cold and the winter seems to be too long. We're pretty happy that summer has arrived. Now, tell me a little bit about where you're from. That's great. You're doing great. I hope you're finding it helpful to start off with some simple questions and then get into some longer answer questions and then something even more complex at the end. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it will become. And you don't have to be perfect. The more you speak English, the better you'll actually get at it. You will become more perfect by speaking. You can't wait until you're perfect to speak. You have to speak first and then correct once you get going. Tell me in the comments what other things you'd like to talk about, and I'll try to do some videos on that. Now let's do the poem one more time before we go. I'm going to have to look at it again. It's called When You Meet Someone New. When you meet someone new, they want to know all about you. Let's practice what you need to say when their questions come your way. Thanks a lot for listening, and thanks a lot especially for talking, speaking English out loud. We'll see you in the next one.